guys, it's Ahmer here. So today I scored these awesome Batman statues from my local GameStop. Now all of these were so cheap, so I had to pick them up. So let's go ahead and check them out. So the GameStop near me is actually shutting down. There was already another GameStop that closed down in the area. So this GameStop was actually part of this big liquidation sale. So they have everything marked up to 70% off. So with that kind of discount, it's pretty difficult not to take advantage of it. So of course I saw this full set of Think Geek Batman statues, and these are a part of the Hush line. So these I had to check out as they were just a few dollars, and I got the entire set of them. Now usually they started around $49.99, some are about $30, $40, so usually that's a normal price to pay. But getting these at such a clearance rate and so cheap, they were practically giving them away. So today we're going to check out this entire line that I have here. We're just going to quickly unbox these and see what's inside and just get some close-up shots of these statues, as I'm pretty excited to see them close up. So we'll start out with this one. We actually have Harley Quinn. On the box itself, if you flip it around back, you kind of get a pretty good view of what the statue will actually look like. So it looks like each of the boxes are pretty generic. They just have this front window part where you can see inside and part of the statue and the back, and then on the side right here it says Think Geek, join in, geek out, only at GameStop. So these you can actually only get at your local GameStops. So of course we have this extra item right here, and then we have this more so figure, and then the base is actually at the bottom here. First, looking at this, we have this base. Now this Harley Quinn base is pretty light. So it says Harley Quinn statue limited edition. It says GameStop on the bottom and Chronicle collectibles. But I do like how the bottom of this base has this soft material so that it won't actually scratch your shelves. We have a little slot right here where she will actually stand. So that is pretty cool. And then of course you'll just slide this. Now it took a little bit just to get her foot to clamp right into this base. This is a pretty light base, so I wish it was a little bit more heavy. And this size is definitely similar to a figure, but I do like the amount of detail work on this statue. So here we have, on this figure part, we have tons of weapons. Right here, she's even holding this, so this is detachable, and the amount of detail on here just looks pretty cool. But once again, I wish this base was a little bit heavier, and it doesn't have too much detail work on it on the top part here, but definitely on the sides and a little bit in these cracks you'll notice some shading. So this one right here is actually going to be Batgirl. So this one is a much larger box than the Harley Quinn box. So the same thing on the side here, just says Think Geek, only at GameStop. And then the back kind of gives you a general idea of what this statue looks like. So next up we have this Batgirl statue. Now this base right here is much larger than the first statue that I opened up. This one actually has a little bit more detail on it. So here we have this base. Once again, the bottom part has this foam on here. It says Batgirl statue limited edition, GameStop Chronicle collectibles. And then here we have this base, which has a lot of shading aspect into it, and it has a lot of detail on the brickwork on this particular base. And then of course, you notice right away that there is an insert right up top here. So this statue is a little bit different than the first one. So this one actually plugs into the wall of this statue, and it holds up pretty well as this figure is also pretty light. So here, the Batgirl statue is actually coming off the side here instead of the bottom. So all of the weight is actually being supported from this back part of this base. And then of course, the amount of detail that's on this pretty awesome looking statue right here. It's definitely more detailed than this one, as we have this, and it's actually wrapped around Batgirl right here, and it just kind of dangles. So this is definitely pretty cool. And we have this cape action up here, and this is a fairly large cape. And then we even have this, which is around the belt here. We have Catwoman right here. And the box has Think Geek, only at GameStop. And then the back even shows this pretty cool display of what this particular statue looks like. So next up we have this base. And once again, this base has this foam print on the bottom. It says Catwoman statue limited edition GameStop Chronicle collectibles. And then on top here we just have this cat on top of this plain base, but there is some shadow work and some detail around this actual base. And then we have this statue. So of course this is the part that just clips right into this base. So here we have Catwoman, and we have a little bit of detail on this statue. There isn't as much as the last two statues, but we do have some shading and some different darkened spots on this suit right here. So this one is still pretty cool looking, and it'll look great among the rest. We have the Joker. So this one shows through on the front, says Think Geek, only at GameStop, and then the back shows this pretty colorful image of the Joker as to what this statue will actually look like. So next up we have this Joker statue. Now this base also has this pretty soft material, the Joker statue limited edition GameStop Chronicle collectibles. And then of course we have a bunch of boxes right here. There's actually two prongs where the Joker will fit into, and once again there is some shading work around this base. So this one actually looks pretty cool, and it looks like they went pretty detailed and they actually imitated some of the wood grain and some of the parts on this box. And of course we have this pretty well detailed statue. Now it almost looks as small as a figure, but it's actually how this statue, how the Joker is sitting. So his legs are kind of all pushed together. There are two prongs on the bottom where he'll fit in nicely. And these pretty awesome vibrant colors that have a lot of shadowing work to them. And then this face is pretty on point. It has a lot of detail specifically around the eyes and the mouth. So this is pretty neat looking. Now, I would have thought that maybe they would have put some guns or some weapons in his hands, but of course he's pointing to make it look like he's holding a gun. So this is still pretty creepy looking, but I feel like they could have did just a little bit more with some weapons on this one. So you actually had to pull apart his leg right there to go ahead and firmly place it in this peg. So that way it'll hold up pretty well, but from it being in the box, it actually pulled together a little bit. So you will have to push this one in a little bit more than the rest. but this is definitely a pretty cool looking statue. And then of course, the best for last, we have this largest box, and this one has some pretty good weight to it compared to the rest. So this one of course is Batman, and then on the side it says Think Geek and only at GameStop. And then the back shows this pretty large image of what this statue will actually look like. So this one, I am super excited to open it up, as it looks a lot bigger than the rest. We actually have this base. Now, in my opinion, this one actually looks way more detailed than the others. There's a little bit more going on with it. So of course we have all of that shading to continue on this base, but we actually have these two gargoyles right here, and they're pretty cool looking as they are kind of grouped together, and there's two of them. So these are pretty neat, and there are a couple pegs in here for the Batman statue. We have all of these claws on here. We have the faces, the mouths, and the body just kind of fades into this statue. So this is pretty neat, and there is a little bit more weight to it. And then of course it says Batman statue limited edition, GameStop Chronicle collectibles. And then we have this pretty large statue. So this one is a figure style of this statue. It's pretty large and it has tons of details on here. Just looking at this cape alone is just so cool. It really actually flows nicely together, and it's not all just one color. It has this darker shading, and then when you look at it, you can kind of see within part of the light what part is actually a little bit darker, and it really adds some character to it. And it's not all just a hard plastic, so it does have a little bit of give with it, so that makes it even better. And then of course, if we look at this Batman statue, there's a couple pegs on the feet right there. We have this same cord as this one, and it's actually wrapped up in his hand, so they added a lot of detail with that. And then this of course is stuck into his hand, so I don't believe this will come out, but it looks pretty nice right there. And then on the utility belt you do see all of the pockets all around, and of course the shading continues with this pretty neat statue. So we'll just go ahead and push the feet into this and see how well it actually stands up. And it looks like the same thing with the Joker. You actually kind of had to separate the feet and just push them right into these spots on the base there. And with the statue all assembled correctly, this does have a pretty good weight to it. This one definitely weighs more than the rest, and it has a lot more detail work. And I really especially like how the Batman figure actually displays nicely on top of this base right here, and with this cape it really looks amazing. So I'm so thrilled to add all of these GameStop exclusive Think Geek statues to my video game collection, as I have a whole room that has tons of Batman items in it. So these will definitely help complete some of the shelves where I have a lot of other Batman statues. And for these prices, you can't beat that. I actually got all of these together at my local GameStop, which unfortunately is closing down. but I was able to get everything extremely discounted, and it's like they were practically giving them away. So of course I had to add all of these in the set to the game room, and I couldn't be any happier as they do have tons of detail on them. They are on the smaller side and they are a little bit light in weight, but I definitely think they look great together. They have tons of detail and each one looks a little bit different than the other, so it's not like they're all just kind of bland together. They all have their own color schemes and the characters are pretty spot on, so I couldn't be any happier with these items, and especially paying up to 70% off of the original asking price. You can't beat that. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out my other videos and stay tuned for more.